Hey, what's happening, guys? Good morning. What's going on YouTube? You guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels. We got some big Bitcoin news for you guys. So I should say this morning at 2 a.m., so late this morning or early this morning, depending on how you want to look at it, El Salvador's president tweeted out announcing that El Salvador has become the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. For those of you guys wondering, what El Salvador's currency was before, El Salvador's official currency is the U.S. dollar. Up until 2001, I believe it was, they had the El Salvadorian colon, but that was phased out. They went to the U.S. dollar, like a lot of countries in Central America. We'll kind of cover some bullet points about this story before kind of getting into it. A couple bullet points about this story. What does this mean? What does it mean for Bitcoin adoption in the country? Why did they do this? And also, why are many crypto entrepreneurs considering moving there? We'll be talking about all of this. So, first off, El Salvador is now the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. What does that mean? That means you'll now be able to conduct official government business in Bitcoin. So you can pay your taxes in Bitcoin. You can pay fees and fines and business licenses and whatever else. You can pay all of that in Bitcoin as well. Couple of kind of surprising stats that I heard about El Salvador. So about a quarter of El Salvador's population actually lives in the U.S. That's kind of crazy. 25% of their population or more lives in the USA. All those people living in the USA send money back to El Salvador. I believe each year it's about $6 billion. It's difficult to send money back. We kind of know how antiquated the banking system is. Western Union isn't cheap. I just did a quick Google search. It looks like sending money back to the U.S. from El Salvador is going to cost you about 13%. Think about 13% of $6 billion that's being sent back. That's a lot of money just being siphoned off the top by Western Union. So this will help with remittances of El Salvadorian citizens living and working in the U.S. and outside of El Salvador to be able to send money back. Also, one of the big selling points we heard of Bitcoin and really crypto in general early on is it can put, a bank into the pocket of anyone, anywhere in the world, regardless of their race, class, nationality, income, etc. No, obviously there are problems with Bitcoin. The fees are incredibly high, which doesn't necessarily make it a great currency for poor people to use. But nonetheless, 70% of El Salvadorians are unbanked, and Bitcoin will allow everybody to start saving money, transacting. It essentially puts a bank in everybody's pocket. Here in the U.S., when you're trading forex, your gains are subject to capital gains taxes. In El Salvador, there will be no capital gains taxes on cryptocurrency, which is what makes it attractive to crypto entrepreneurs. And I believe we'll cover this in the article, but the El Salvadorian president said that crypto entrepreneurs will be immediately eligible for permanent residency. So, pretty interesting news here. We'll see if other countries start to follow suit. Again, this is a really amazing thing, but Bitcoin fees are so high that, I guess it kind of depends on how much money you're sending. Bitcoin is incredibly expensive to send and transact in. So, I don't know if they'll eventually adopt Litecoin or Nano or some other cryptocurrencies, but this is a step in the right direction. So this article comes to us from the New York Post. El Salvador becomes the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. El Salvador on Wednesday officially became the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. President Nayib Bukele announced on Twitter just after 2 a.m. Eastern Time that the Central American country's legislative body voted in favor of the so-called Bitcoin law, making the digital currency the nation's official legal tender along with the U.S. dollar. The law received 62 out of 84 votes, according to Bukele, Latin America's youngest president. The purpose of this law is to regulate Bitcoin as unrestricted legal tender with liberating power unlimited in any transaction and to any title that public or private, natural or legal persons require carrying out, the law reads. That means prices for goods and services across the country can now be shown in Bitcoin, taxes can be paid into crypto, and transactions in Bitcoin will not be subject to capital gains taxes, the law says. And that's huge right there. Another thing in terms of mainstream adoption, imagine if you're in the U.S., we also announced that, I don't know, let's say the Mexican peso or Canadian dollar was also, obviously that would never happen, but is also an official currency alongside the U.S. dollar. And when you go into McDonald's or when you go anywhere, you're seeing both prices up on the screen. Obviously, naturally, you're going to be more familiar with that currency, the Canadian dollar, the Mexican peso. So, if you walk into a government office and you see the fee for a business license is, $25 or, however many Satoshis, it's going to start to get people really familiar with and used to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was last seen trading about 3% higher at almost 34,200 per coin. It's still unclear exactly how El Salvador will roll out the use of Bitcoin, which is known for its extremely volatile prices, as legal tender. The Bitcoin law has been approved by the majority of the Salvadorian Congress, 62 out of 84 votes, and that's the tweet from the president last night at 2:05 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know if you guys see this, but if you look at Nayib Bukele's, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right, if you look at his Twitter bio picture or profile picture, he actually put the laser eyes on there. And the laser eye, Tom Brady did that a couple weeks ago. We've seen other people do that. It's basically just kind of a little signal or whatever that you're a supporter of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The exchange rate with the US dollar will be freely established by the market, the law says. The state will promote the necessary training and mechanisms so that the population can access Bitcoin transactions according to the law. The passage of the law comes after Bukele announced last week that El Salvador has struck a partnership with digital wallet company Strike to build the country's new financial infrastructure. Jack Mallers, founder and CEO of Strike, has called the adoption of Bitcoin by El Salvador the shot heard around the world for Bitcoin. Bukele revealed himself as a Bitcoin enthusiast last week, announcing at the Bitcoin 2021 conference in Miami that he would introduce a bill to make crypto legal tender in El Salvador. The 39-year-old president changed his profile picture, okay, so there we go, on Twitter shortly after the announcement to show the so-called laser eyes, which have become something of a signal on social media used by Bitcoin supporters. There you can see a picture of him with the laser eyes as well as his profile picture. In announcing his plans for the country's currency, Bukele has noted that Bitcoin could be the fastest growing way to transfer $6 billion a year in remittances. The US dollar is currently El Salvador's other official currency. About a quarter of El Salvador's citizens live in the US, and last year they sent home more than $6 billion in remittances. So that's essentially like Western Union payments. Bukele has said that a chunk of those transfers are currently lost to intermediaries like Western Union, and that more than 1 million poor families could benefit from the use of Bitcoin. Now that stands to be seen. Again, I guess it depends on how much you're sending, but what's the cost to send a Bitcoin transaction right now, and what's the cost to send an equivalent amount of money in Western Union? If anybody wants to do the math on that, let me know. Drop a comment down below and let us know. He's added that 70% of people in El Salvador don't have a bank account and operate outside the formal financial infrastructure. Bitcoin could give those people access to the country's financial system, he said. He's also said that his government will give immediate permanent residency to crypto entrepreneurs, prompting several fellow Bitcoin enthusiasts to say on Twitter they were considering such a move. So that's the story for today. Let me know your guys' thoughts. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button below. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next video.